Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to another installment of Scout Selections here for Thursday, June 27th. Before we get into today's card, we'll quickly recap what happened yesterday. Unfortunately, we picked up a loss with the over 10.5 between the Phillies and the Mets. Overall, that game, both bullpens, we knew going in that even if Vargas would pitch well, the Mets bullpen had a good chance of blowing it, to which they did, as the Mets were up. I believe it was 4-1 or 4-0, and then the bullpen came in and choked it. But unfortunately, Vargas was too good, and Pivetta didn't give up enough runs, and we ended up only generating about 9 runs. So that means that it didn't reach the total, and we ended up picking up a loss. It happens overall. It seems like whenever I bet against Vargas or involving something with Vargas, it doesn't really work out, and props to him for putting together a good performance before the Mets eventually blew his chance at a victory. But with that being said, on Thursday, I know that there are a decent amount of baseball games to start already, but we are not going to be having a play of the day anyway because I really just didn't like today's card. I looked at it for at least an hour, didn't really see any value on anything, but I will be giving out my leans for the remaining games, and then I'll even throw in a WNBA lean because of the fact that most of the baseball games have already started. So with that being said, we'll quickly dive into the 7 o'clock game between the Nationals and the Marlins with Strasburg versus Alcantara. I actually wrote an article about this game for StatSalt.com, so you can check that out as well. But in terms of this game, I will lean to the Nationals minus 1.5, and I will lean to the under 7.5 with a bigger lean on the under. Alcantara's record's not great, but his ERA is actually decent. It's below 4. He's been a pretty solid pitcher, just simply that the Marlins can't hit, and I think that will continue in this one. Meanwhile, Strasburg was okay in his last start, about 5 innings, gave up 3 earned runs. But he's done well against the Marlins in his career, and the Marlins have had issues hitting the ball. So for me, I'll lean to the under. It's trickier with the bullpens involved because yesterday, for example, Corbin goes 7 innings and gives up 1 run, and yet the final score is 7-5 because the Nationals bullpen is still that terrible. So I feel more confident with the first 5 under, as I simply just do not trust the Nationals bullpen or the Marlins bullpen to shut it down. So I will lean there on the first 5 for the under. Moving on, you have the Dodgers versus the Rockies with Buehler versus Lambert. I have to lean to the Dodgers minus 1.5 here. I know that the Dodgers are a much better home team than they are a road team, but overall, Lambert's pretty good for Colorado, but Buehler has been remarkable. He just faced this Rockies team in his last start and struck out, I believe it was either 16 guys or 17 guys. So he's coming off of a fantastic performance. He's looked like an absolute ace of the squad. And for me, I think Lambert will struggle against such a potent offense as a rookie, and I will lean to the Dodgers minus 1.5. I'll also lean to the under 12 simply because I don't think the Rockies will score more than 4 runs anyway. So unless the Dodgers score 8, I think you're looking at an under. I will lean to the under in that one. Moving on, you have the Diamondbacks versus the Giants with Young versus Beatty. Young is a relative unknown. Beatty's been very underwhelming, to say the least, so far this season. If you look at Young's statistics, he has not started a game yet this season. He's not pitched in the majors yet, and this will actually be the first start of his MLB career. So it's kind of a question mark, but Beatty's been very underwhelming so far this season, and the Diamondbacks have looked okay recently. The Giants have looked decent, but overall, I don't trust Beatty. Young is a wild card, but the Giants can't hit anyway. I'll lean to the Diamondbacks on the money line in that one. And for the total, I don't really have any thoughts on the 8.5. I'd lean to the over, but it's in the Giants arena, so I'm kind of wondering about that. But I'll lean to the Diamondbacks as a main lean. In the last game, you have the A's versus the Angels with Canning versus Anderson. I lean to the Angels there. Angels played well against the Reds. They're starting to heat up again, back around 500. Oakland's a pretty solid team. Didn't really look great against the Cardinals over the last couple of days, so we'll lean to the Angels on that one. And lastly, we'll talk about the WNBA. You have the Las Vegas Aces, who have been bet up for minus 1.5 to minus 2 against the Sparks, and the total's been bet down from 160 to 158.5, give or take. Lean to the Aces here. I know that most people who don't know anything about WNBA automatically think LA Sparks. You automatically think of Candace Parker. However, she's only played in roughly 1 game this season as she was recovering from a hamstring injury, and she looked awful in her return. Does she still have it? Of course she does, but I think she'll take a couple of games, if not a couple weeks, to get back into prime Candace Parker form. So if that's the case, I simply just think the Sparks will be overwhelmed by the talent level of the Aces, especially with their star not at 100%. So I think it makes sense that the aces have been bet up for -1.5 to -2, and I will lean to the aces -2 here, and I will lean to the under 158.5. Before we conclude today's video, quick reminder of our sponsors. PointsBet, online sportsbook in New Jersey. Great deal for you, up to 2 risk-free bets up to $1,000. So if you end up betting on, for example, each of the play of the days for the last 2 days, $1,000 each, you simply didn't lose any money and you got your money back and got to reinvest in future plays of the day. So there's definitely a good deal, and that is something to keep in mind moving forward if you are interested in getting a new sportsbook. But I'll post a link in the description below. With that being said, sorry that there's no play of the day, but I really didn't like the sports betting card. With that being said, it's going to be over this installment of Scott's Selections here for Thursday, June 27th. Good luck to all of you and your respective bets today. Bye, everyone.